Bad blood on the Tyne.
Good afternoon, you absolute beauties. David Alorca back with the one and only Mr. Gareth A. Davies, as promised in Newcastle. Gareth, tell them where we are and what we're doing here.
We're by the Tyne and there's bad blood happening Saturday night. Lewis Ritson, local lad, huge support against Robbie Davies Jr., Liverpool lad. Been a lot of smack talk between the two. They don't generally indulge in this, but the heckles are rising. Even at the workout yesterday, there was a bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, a bit of pushing going on there.
A little bit of argy-bargy.
Out of my way.
We'll see some nasty words today. They're calling it bad blood for a reason. Terrific fight, though. Two completely different styles. Lewis Ritson likes to blitz through people, but he needs to show more nuanced tenacity. We saw against Francisco Patera his one loss that he needs to do things. Robbie Davies, cool, calculated, really looking to do a number here on enemy territory.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And below that, we have quite an exciting and enthralling card, haven't we, Gareth?
Hey, we have. Obviously, that's at super welterweight, super lightweight, or light welterweight as they now call it, but a light middleweight as well. Terrific fight between Scott Fitzgerald, who we also saw yesterday, who I think is reaching genuine maturity as a man and a fighter under Michael Jennings, the punk rocker, and of course, and there he is behind us over here in front of us, punk rocker and trainer. We've seen the videos of Fitzgerald kind of holed up in his house for 11 weeks against Ted Cheeseman, heading north for a battle of the big cheeses on the Tyne. Can't wait for it.
Listen, it's going to be an absolute phenomenal card. A phenomenal fight night on Saturday. And we've got loads of exciting odds for you as well. We're going to be delivering those. In fact, they're probably running on the ticker right now, but we're delivering them throughout this entire press conference. We're here live on the Tyneside at Sage Gatehead for the press conference. What can we expect from the press conference today, Gareth?
Well, I think, look, there's the thing is, when you come to Newcastle, to this area for a fight night, it's always well supported. It's a fight town.
It is.
Boxing and MMA, hugely well supported. The venue's sold out. We were down in Gateshead, weren't we?
We were indeed.
For the workouts yesterday. Hundreds of shoppers there, families, kids, everyone in a little sneak peek, because they love to rubberneck a fight up here. And that's just the women, The women cause the trouble up here. We went out last night, we were getting into trouble with a lot of women.
Indeed.
We made our excuses and left, and we made it here safely today. But you can always expect a rollicking atmosphere inside the Metro Radio Arena. When Joe Calzaghe fought Robin Reed up here, when Amir Khan fought Dimitri Salita, it's always a sellout up here, and it's going to be another one. The fact they've got local heroes now under Eddie Hearn, Josh Kelly and Lewis Ritson, and you've got other guys who are coming through. We spoke to Joe Laws yesterday, young fighter, ambitious. Loads of guys want to come through, locally supported. It's terrific to have cards all around the country. It's not always about Madison Square Garden, Las Vegas, O2 Arena. Wembley. We like to travel, and this is one of those places.
It's an incredible place, an incredible atmosphere. Even walking in today, we've met a lot of local people here that's taken time off work.
I just met a guy that's been in Charles Bronson's cell with him doing art in the last few weeks.
Absolutely unbelievable.
And Eddie Hearn owes him money, apparently.
That's 600
for
quid.
For a painting he never paid for. Anyway, stories.
He's echoing Eddie Hearn because he's out there in the distance there. But listen, it's absolutely packed to the rafters in here. And it's going to, I can just sense an amazing atmosphere because you've got a lot of local people here. It's not just press at the press conference today, is it? And that makes for really, really good atmosphere because these people care about their fighters, don't they?
I think we've got quite a lot of family in here today as well. And so, you can expect quite a lot of back and forth. Look, Ritson and Davies, they're not natural trash talkers, but they don't like each other. There has been bad blood in the build-up. Ted Cheeseman's never short of a word either, and of course, Cheeseman and Scott Fitzgerald. Scott Fitzgerald's coming off a great victory against Anthony Fowler. There was a lot of talking ahead of that one.
Indeed.
So
a lot of Twitter going on ahead of that one as well.
It's a very vibrant scene. We've got 5 minutes left, Scorsese's telling me, Dave, yeah? So let's pack it in. Scorsese's directing us today.
Oh, absolutely. You know? Listen, beautiful direction as well. I love it. I absolutely love
get
it.
In position.
Listen,
get in position.
Get in position.
Get in position.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah, don't move.
Yeah, he's even directing the lighting going
Don't
on in the
mention
background.
anyone under 25.
Hey, listen, no under 25s here on this stream. Listen, it's an absolute. Listen, I'm just.
Smiley emojis.
I can't wait. Smiley emojis on the blackboard. I absolutely cannot wait.
Can we get Eddie Hearn in for 1 minute?
Yeah, we can get him in for 1 minute. Yeah,
let's get the main man.
Yes, indeed.
I thought you'd never ask.
I saw Eddie waiting patiently in the wings there, smiling.
I did grass on you about owing some artists money outside, and he's just been in the cell with Charles Bronson, by the way.
No, but can I just say, just so everybody knows the story, this guy who's an artist, but quite a quirky individual,
he is,
come up to me and presented me with a painting at the last fight, and just come up to me and said, "Have you got that 600 quid
for the bill? You didn't see the bill on the back of it, then?
one of those ones.
It's a nice painting, though.
Amazing. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
It's for charity.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
So look, we were just enthusing on the atmosphere at the workouts yesterday. This is a fight town, isn't it? And when you come here, you really do feel the vim and vigour. And what you're doing is taking these terrific domestic matchups, and these guys have an opportunity at world level at some point, but it really does, it just speaks volumes, and it just sells out these venues.
Sometimes shows just gel, and the great thing about this is, we'll have a 9,000 sellout, load of Geordies, but you do have 300 from Bermondsey for Ted Cheeseman. You do have 800 from Liverpool for Robbie Davies. You do have 700 from Preston for Scott Fitzgerald. So this is a real fight fans card. You know, two really good domestic 50-50s up the top. Even beneath that as well, some good fights. Ricky Summers against Aseki's one that's probably going to go under the radar a little bit as well.
Look at Martin Bacoli. He looks fascinating.
Johnson,
a year from now, you know.
Yeah. I mean, April Hunter, Savannah Marshall. I think next year we'll fight Clarissa Shields.
Yeah.
Kieran Conway, who had a great fight with Ted Cheeseman. John Doherty, who's a great young fighter coming through. So I'm just really excited. And it's like, these kind of cities, it's not like everybody knows each other, but I was on the train up, you know, and the lady who was doing the tea came up to me and she went, "What? Looking forward to Saturday, late?" You know, and I'm like, "Oh," and she was 60. You know, she's "Oh, everyone's going, my husband's going, you know, my granddad's going." Well, not granddad, because
grandson.
Grandson. So it's that kind of feeling, and when you get it right, it's a really good feeling, because, you know, the atmosphere for the Patera fight was unbelievable, and he lost.
Indeed.
And they've still come back.
Yes.
You know, he's had a win since then, or 2 wins since then, Ritson, and this is a world title eliminator. And I believe the winner of this fight should fight the winner of next week, Progress Taylor. I mean, that's a massive fight for the UK, particularly if Josh Taylor wins. So, you know,
it's a 50-50 fight, that, though,
next
isn't it?
week. Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about that a lot next week.
They're all 50-50 fights.
Yeah.
Progress Taylor, Cheeseman Fitzgerald,
Chisora Price.
Quite
excited about that.
Selby.
Yeah,
even a Coley and Garbu is a very, very tough fight. So that's what you want. And you can. The great fight's the one you can debate all day. We could talk for an hour about Cheeseman Fitzgerald, about Davies Ritson, about Chisora Price, about Progress Taylor, and I keep going backwards and forwards on all of those fights I just discussed.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, with this card we have here happening this Saturday, what fights beyond, as you mentioned, Robbie Davies Jr., Lewis Ritson, beyond those two, are you looking for? And how do you see the Scott Fitzgerald fight?
So I think I've been through sort of backwards and forwards in this, in that Fitzgerald, massive win over Anthony Fowler, and Cheeseman,
real maturity, wasn't it?
Cheeseman hasn't looked great in his last couple of fights, but he's always been slung in the deep end. Young man, but has great championship experience, particularly over the championship rounds, which Fitz doesn't have. Never been past 10, but, you know, did look good over 10 rounds last time. And earlier on, I felt that Fitz was a favourite in that fight. And now I think, you know what, Cheeseman's really determined, he's really experienced now, he really fancies it. So I don't know how to call it. I think if it goes deep into the fight, if it goes 8, 9, 10 rounds, I think it's perfect for Ted Cheeseman, but he's got to move his head.
Well, the problem is we judge him on that Sergio Garcia performance where he went one track and never changed his game plan, and then went over brave. And I mean, he's so brave and he's so resilient, and yet he never adjusted during that fight. That was the problem, really.
I think Tony Sims, who's a very good trainer, will have adjusted him pre-fight here, and I don't think you'll see the same relentless, you know, young fighter with no regard for what's coming back. You can't do that against Scott Fitzgerald because he can really punch, by the way. I think he's a very, very good talent.
Can I just grab you on something else as well? Conor McGregor, and you and he have been
there's been a bit of love dancing going on over there.
Are you going to be promoting?
He said to me, "Dance for me, Eddie." I was like, "Is that good or bad?"
I think it's good.
Is it? Yeah, I said, "I'll fucking do whatever you want, Conor, to be honest with you. I'll clean your car if you want, it's not a problem." So yeah, I'll dance for him, clean his car, whatever he's got to do. But, you know, Conor's... It's hard for me to say you don't need a promoter, but when you're that good at promoting yourself, you know, you still need some guidance and some structure and maximising the revenues, but he is one of the greatest self-promoters of all time. But, you know, he lives in character.
Yes.
Right?
Permanently.
So when he turned up to the Katie Taylor show, there's a video of him backstage walking, and like no one was even around, and he was just like, and he was in a corridor on his own. Do you know what I mean?
Doing the Vince
sometimes it's
McMahon
best to stay in character all the time, so that you know you get it right.
No, because the thing is about him as well, you know, KSI, Logan Paul, we're going to be there, of course, Los Angeles. There's you could easily stick him on top of a massive card in a boxing match against someone who he's got a beef with.
To be honest, I've always liked the Malignaggi fight because I think actually it's a 50-50 boxing fight now because Paulie's well past his best.
Yeah.
So the thing is with the Mayweather fight and stuff like that, he could never have won that fight. But with Paulie, it's like...
It's real intrigue.
So, you know.
Brilliant. Great to see you, Eddie.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Always,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Eddie Hearn there.
Eddie. Just in case you didn't know, it was Eddie Hearn there.
Yeah.
He's being ushered back. Listen. The press conference is starting a little bit late because of that. Because of us.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen.
He won't be at this one.
Oh no. Oh, the purring voice of Buffer.
The purring voice of Buffer won't be at this one. It's the cigar diamond.
David Diamante, who's
Absolutely.
probably in position.
He is. He's
He's
poised.
got hat and hair ready.
Absolutely poised. He's ready to go.
Let's keep going till they start.
Yeah,
shall we?
Oh my! Hey, listen, Gareth. Listen, there are some people that have just joined the stream right now. Let them know where we are and what we're doing.
We're in Newcastle, on the edge of the Tyne at the Sage, on the Gateshead side. It's bad blood on the.
It is
on the
indeed.
Tyne. Metro Radio Arena Saturday night, headlined by Lewis Ritson against Robbie Davies Jr. at super lightweight, or an old bloke like me calls it, light welterweight, 140 pounds. Terrific fight, co-main event. Ted Cheese, the big cheese, coming up to Newcastle from London to fight, not going up in weight, at light middleweight against Scott Fitzgerald. Terrific fight as well. As I say, heavyweight Martin Bacoli on the card as well. Loads of great Savannah Marshall. Can't wait to see all these guys. As Eddie Hearn was telling us earlier, it's a sold-out 9,000 arena. Can't wait for it.
It's an incredible city for fighting, incredible area for fighting in the north, isn't it? Like we said, there was so many people here today. So much of the public here today. It's not just a press conference for the press conference. Not only just pressing here. There's a lot of the public here. Very excited about the fight this weekend.
Well, look at it. It's absolutely jam-packed. You've got fighters, supporters, family, corners. Eddie Hearn and all the fighters have taken the stage. I think we need to exit to our left.
That's right. Let's wrap it up.
I'm going right.
You're going right, yeah? All right, listen. Keep it locked. We'll be back soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie, the last 24 hours have been very painful with the news of the passing of Patrick Day. At this time, if we could please remain silent and observe a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. Rest in peace, Patrick. You know, Patrick Day loved boxing, and he would want these fights to go on. Every courageous man and woman that steps in the ring this Saturday night will be honoring Patrick's memory. So with that being said, let's crack on with the press conference for the great fight card we have here in Newcastle on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing more exciting in boxing than a good grudge match, except maybe a British grudge match. Whether you're talking about Ben Eubank, Louis Bruno, Froch Groves, the English really seem to know how to build and create excitement around a great rivalry. So Saturday night, we have a great fight card, and I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Eddie Hearn to tell you all about it.
Thank you, David, and we, of course, echo those thoughts. It's always difficult for the sport of boxing when a tragedy like this happens, and having only met Patrick Day once last Thursday and spoke to him for probably 30 seconds, I can see why the response that we've seen over the last 24 hours or less has been so. He was a guy that didn't need to box, but loved the sport of boxing. And everybody involved in the sport, we can never get complacent. We must always try and make it a better place, a safer place. And we must always respect fighters, always respect anybody that steps into the ring. Sometimes as fans, I think we take the whole sport for granted. We've got to always remember the sacrifices that people make. And we all love the sport. We know that fighters love the sport. But like I said, we must always keep evolving and make sure that people like Patrick Day, who had such a positive effect on the community where he lived and everybody in the sport, that his name continues to shine brightly over these next few years. So our thoughts are with him and the family, his training team, his management, his promoter Lou DiBella, and everybody that's been so badly affected by this loss. As David said, Patrick loved the sport and we love the sport, and on Saturday night we have an incredible night of boxing in Newcastle. I think the great thing about this city is you feel the passion for the sport of boxing, just like we all do. And I think coming up here on the train today, you know when you got a great event when probably, and no disrespect if I get the age wrong, but maybe a late 60s lady who was doing the tea cart come up to me, she says, "Oh, I can't wait for the fights on Saturday." And that really represents your city, because that shows you that when a big event like this comes together, you're all there to support. And we're very proud of this card. We have the last tickets that have been put on back on sale from any returning tickets from the fighters. I think it's like 20 or something like that. It is going to be a complete sellout at the arena on Saturday. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely fantastic. And so many important fights from the top of the bill down to the bottom of the bill for all these fighters on the cards. Opportunities to make professional debuts, opportunities to go and try and challenge for world titles next year, opportunities to walk out in front of your crazy army of fans if you're the Benwell bomber in Joe Laws. John Doherty coming through to continue his KO streak. Kieran Conway looking for another shot at the British title. Lawrence Asecki, chance for him to try and move on and fight for British titles. Martin Bacoli trying to keep making statements in the heavyweight division. And two brilliant fights topping the bill. Firstly, you got Scott Fitzgerald trying to take the British title away from Ted Cheeseman. I think these two fighters, and you know when you've got a great fight because you go backwards and forwards, you can debate it. It's all the questions are going to be answered. The win from Scott Fitzgerald over Anthony Fowler was huge for his career. Ted Cheeseman, been slung into the deep end, had it real tough, come through, battled away, learned so much. But like I said, it's the questions. You know, will Ted Cheeseman be able to stand up to the firepower of Scott Fitzgerald? Can Scott Fitzgerald live at the pace that Ted Cheeseman will set in this fight? There's nothing quite like a 50-50 British title fight, and that's what we've got as chief support on the card. The main fight is breathtaking. Lewis Ritson, Robbie Davies Jr., an official eliminator for the WBA world title. Again, it's all the questions, isn't it? Does Lewis Ritson have the same power at 140? Can Robbie Davies stand up to that power? Can Lewis Ritson deal with the skill of Robbie Davies Jr.? Can Robbie Davies Jr. deal with the atmosphere? Okay, well, you answered that. Well, we'll see on Saturday night. But do you know a great thing about this show as well is we haven't just got 9,000 Geordies in the house. We got 1,000 Scousers. We got 800 people from Preston. We got 300 or 400 coming up from Bermondsey as well. The atmosphere for boxing on Saturday is going to be brilliant. So when I introduce everybody up here today, firstly we're going to respect everybody by giving them a big round of applause, and then we're going to listen to them, and we're going to get very excited for a great show on Saturday night. Firstly, these kind of situations really excite me because this is the start of a journey. And ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday night, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first ever female fighter from Newcastle will debut on Saturday night at the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, April Hunter. April, welcome. Soaking it all up. We saw you at the workout last night.
Yeah,
it all starts for you on Saturday.
It's just surreal, isn't it? Making me debut in my hometown in front of 9,000 people. It's like, it hasn't even sunk in just yet, but I just want to go out there, perform, stick to me boxing, and who knows where the future could lead.
Amazing time for women's boxing. Obviously, Savannah next to you on the verge of fighting for her own world title. Saw Jessica McCaskill fight last week. Katie Taylor involved in some of the biggest fights of the sport. Serrano, Clarissa Shields, Breakhouse. It's all there right now for women boxers.
It's amazing. Like, Savannah's led the way, obviously, for the North East boxers, and I just hope that we pioneer for more girls to get into the sport, and then hopefully the depth of boxing can grow even more.
Thank you, April. Look forward to your professional debut on Saturday. Someone that's already made her way in women's boxing with a stellar amateur career with a GB team and making her North East debut remarkably on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, Savannah Marshall. Savannah, about time you boxed in the North East. Looking forward to getting out there and fighting in Newcastle.
Yeah, 100%. It's been over 10 years since I last boxed in the North East in Hartlepool. So I'm over the moon to be back home, so to speak, and for a chance for me to box in front of all my home fans, not far for them to travel. So I'm really excited.
I think one of the tough things in your division is getting the opponents outside of the world champions. I think actually you got a great fight on Saturday night. Someone that's boxed basically all the top girls. I think it's the toughest fight of your career.
Yeah, it is definitely. She's strong southpaw. She's got a really good jab. She knows how to move, and she's tough as well. She's durable. She's never been stopped, and she's had twice as many fights as what I've had. So I'm expecting a really tough fight on Saturday.
Look forward to seeing you in action, Savannah Marshall. A young light middleweight who had a brilliant fight, stepping in at fairly short notice against Ted Cheeseman for the British title earlier this year. Ladies and gentlemen, Kieran Conway. Kieran back in action, first fight officially with us after that brilliant fight with Ted. Obviously looking forward to getting a good 8 rounds in the bag and probably coming out and watching these two go at it as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's an amazing city for boxing. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere. Really looking forward to putting on a show and getting back on the big table at the back and in some big fights.
Obviously, you will be watching carefully the main event. Don't want to put the co-main event. Don't want to put you on the spot. But who's going to win?
I don't know. But I will be watching closely. To me, it doesn't matter who's going to win. I do want another shot at the British title. I do believe it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter who wins. I'll win the British title too.
Good man. We look forward to seeing you back in action on Saturday night. Heavyweight division, red hot. Martin Bacoli is one of those guys I believe will be looking for world title shots in 2020. Again, a great opponent at last minute in Kevin Kingpin Johnson. He's en route, arrives in about 2 hours' time. I haven't forgotten you. Don't worry about it, Joe. No. Don't worry, Joe. I'm going to save you till a bit later. Martin, obviously good opponent, good last-minute opponent. If you can get him out of there inside 8 rounds, you've done a great job. I think AJ is one of the only few that's done that in the last few years. But looking forward to boxing in Newcastle. We know your trainer and manager, Billy Nelson, knows this city well. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, I want to thank you for all this opportunity and thank my coach, Billy, there. I'm looking forward, like I always say, I'm being in this boxing to be a champion, so I'm looking forward to box anyone who's gonna face me. So I'm looking forward for Saturday night to face a big man.
What do you do in that situation? Because obviously he likes to fiddle around. He likes to make sure he'll take you the distance. We saw him take Dubois the full distance as well. Do you have to get him out of there? I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? That's got to be the aim.
Yeah. You know, heavyweight is not like a flyweight, so everyone wants to see a knockout. But the big man is he don't know how to box, but he can take punches. He have a nice defense. But I'll stand there on top on him. If he stand, then I'll punish him badly if he stand. But if he doesn't have a heart, he will give up. Or his corner, they will throw the tower to stop the punishment.
I'm not sure if we gave you a round of applause. Martin Bacoli, everybody. This next fight, again, I know we've got some great fights on the card, but I'm really, really excited about this fight. Lawrence Oseki against Ricky Summers. Ricky Summers is about an hour and a half away as well. So Lawrence Oseki has a real opportunity here. With the growth of boxing in the Northeast, we need people like Savannah Marshall. We need people like April Hunter. We need Joe Laws to keep on winning. And Lawrence Oseki has a brilliant, brilliant chance to win this eliminator for the British light heavyweight title. It's miles above anywhere he's operated before against Ricky Summers, who is a really, really good domestic light heavyweight. So to speak now, big round of applause, please, for Lawrence Oseki. Lawrence, this is it now. This is the crunch time. This is where the career starts to get really exciting.
Yeah, thank you very much again for the opportunity to perform on such a great stage. Thank you to my trainer, Nick Gittis, who's given me an excellent camp and we've worked really hard and more than prepared. And again, Stevie Wraith, who get me these opportunities. Just finally got my main sponsor here, UK Collection, who's kind of made it possible for me to basically train the way I need to prepare for this fight.
I hope you give him a few more quid for that as well. By the way, yeah. There you go, UK Collection.
Yeah, and just I'm just really looking forward to putting on a good performance and hopefully on to the next stage of eventually fighting for the British title.
How are you going to handle the atmosphere? We know you boxed at the arena before. This time you're deep on the card, you're live on Sky Sports, obviously a much tougher test. Difficult to stay calm. You know you've got huge support. You're going to have the whole arena behind you.
Yeah.
Going to be some atmosphere.
Well, I mean, I've been boxing for like 12 years now, so end of the day, it's just another ring, really. And once you get in there, you don't hear the crowd. It's kind of just down to you and the opponent in front of you. So it's just another day in the office for me.
Look forward to Lawrence Oseki against Ricky Summers, eliminator for the British light heavyweight title. Now, a young man that is just, I've never seen anything like his last ring walk. I'm not talking about the one at the arena. I'm talking about the one of his last fight. Some bloke rapping him out who I've never heard of. I think he had his shirt off. He was jumping up. And that's the one. Yeah, something like that. And he's a real character. But he can fight, and he's very, very excited. And if he keeps on winning, he's going to be selling this place out on his own very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the Benwell bomber, Joe Laws. Thanks, Joe. We'll wish you the best for Saturday night. Joe, you got the Gucci hat on. You've sold a huge amount of tickets again. You got a tough fight on Saturday, by the way. I've looked at your opponent. It's a proper step up, but feeling good, feeling ready, and I bet you can't wait again for this crazy atmosphere on Saturday.
I'm back. I've got a very, very tough fight. He's from Africa. He's had like 20 fights, won 16, knocked out 14. But what better way to test myself at the arena in front of me fans, me support, 9,000 people of boxing fans, and I'm coming fighting. Win, lose or draw, I'm coming swinging, and I'm winning Saturday night. Trust us.
Same question for you as Lawrence. You're going to be deep on the card. You're going to be on TV again. Again, that ring walk last time was great. Important, obviously. You know, we know that you can play the joker sometimes as well. But now getting really serious in your career, you can't afford any slip-ups on Saturday. You've got to be super focused for this fight.
Yeah, I am. I do. I've got to stick to the game plan. I've had a very good camp with me trainer Nick Gittis, and I'm getting the job done. I'm going to stay focused in there, and like Lawrence was saying, as soon as you get in the ring, just in our ring. I've been boxing about 10 years now, so I'm going to keep myself cool, composed, but I'm getting the job done Saturday.
Joe, we look forward to seeing you in action on
Thank
Saturday
you.
night, mate. This fight, brilliant fight. The British light middleweight, or they call it now the super welterweight, we'll call it light middleweight. British title fight, brilliant fight, Scott Fitzgerald against Ted Cheeseman. You can debate this fight all day long, and I think still there's people arguing about who's going to win this fight. I think it's a great fight, huge support coming up from London, huge support coming from Preston as well. Firstly, the reigning WBA international light middleweight champion and challenger for the British title, Scott Fitzgerald.
Cheers, Eddie. Yeah, I'm buzzing for this fight. It's the opportunity I've been after since turning pro. And Ted's the champion, he's got my respect, but I feel I'm better than him in every department, and whatever he brings, I'll have an answer for.
We've seen such a calm Scott Fitzgerald in this camp. Obviously, in the Fowler fight, you got the nickname of the Madman because I think he was just winding you up, and you know, you were getting really in that situation. But you seem like there's a new maturity about Scott Fitzgerald. You must have learned a huge amount from not just the fight, but also the build-up of that last event.
Yeah, I definitely did, and you know, it was a good performance. I got the win, but I feel I actually burnt up a lot of energy before the that fight, and I was, you know, I come down with illness, you know, bits of illness before it and stuff. So I've stayed calm, focused all my energy into my training, and making sure I peak perfectly on the night.
I know that again, crazy support coming from Preston. It's 3 hours away, 2.5 hours away from Preston, and the amount of tickets that you've done is incredible. And I was talking to your manager Steve Wood the other day, and there's a real feel that you have an entire city behind you in Preston, similar to, you know, we're talking about Carl Frampton in Belfast, and Lewis Ritson in Newcastle, and Josh Warrington in Leeds. Things could get really, really excited with victory on Saturday. And congratulations as well on the birth of your son.
Oh yeah,
everything's in play now.
Cheers, Eddie. Yeah,
it's a massive chance.
Extra thing to fight for that, and the lads in Preston love it, and I could have done more than the 800 I have done if I'd have been able to get my hands on them. But you know, I only got a certain amount of tickets. I also had a lot of people online after tickets, like social media and stuff. You know, sort didn't know how to go about it, to be honest. But I've made sure I got all the people who always come sorted, and they'll be there and they'll be noisy, so I thrive off that as well, and I look forward to feeling this atmosphere in Newcastle, which I've heard a lot about.
Thanks, Scott. Look forward to a great fight. This man, again, at such a young age, has been in great fights after great fights. Won the British title against Darren Byfield, stepped straight in against Sergio Garcia, challenged him from the European title, come back, defended his British title again, and now goes straight back into another 50-50 fight in the Newcastle arena on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, the current reigning British light middleweight champion, Ted Cheeseman. Ted, again, I've got to say, a big air of confidence from you in this fight as well. You and Scott both feel that you've got the goods to win, and both know that it's going to be a very tough fight on Saturday.
Yeah, Scott's a really good fighter. I think everyone's flattered him really from his win against Fowler. What people don't realise, I'm still unbeaten at domestic level. I still put on some really good performance in domestic level. And obviously things ain't gone the way how it should have been the last couple of fights, but I've built up a lot of experience. I'm still only 24 years old, and I'm in unbelievable shape. I'm mentally very strong at the moment. Everything's going really well. I've had a great camp. And there's one thing for sure, I'll be there from the first bell to the last bell, the 12 round, giving everything.
Obviously, people debating this fight, people talking about the power of Scott Fitzgerald, people have talked about the work rate and fitness of Ted Cheeseman. We're going to have to see something different in this fight other than the work rate of Ted Cheeseman, something that everybody knows you've got. But a lot of people talking that you're going to show something different in this fight on Saturday night. Yeah,
look, you're going to see the best Ted Cheeseman there's been so far as a pro. Everything's gone perfect. I've made my weight well. I've been recovering well. I've been getting all my massages properly. All the rest recovery and the training's gone really well. And I'm just really excited for Saturday because when you're at the top, everyone jumps on the bandwagon. When you're going down, the wheels fall off. And then when I win again Saturday, it's going to prove you're going to see everyone try and jump back on the bandwagon. But it takes a really good fighter to come from the lows and go back to the top once you've been so at a high stage. And I'm still only a baby, and I'm just so looking forward to Saturday night now.
Thank you, Ted and Fitz, two absolute fighters in the prime right now. Great training camps, mentally and physically on point for the British Light Middleweight Championship on Saturday night. Now the main event, this is another breathtaking 50-50 domestic clash, and I think the more I've been thinking about this fight over the last couple of weeks, we all know that next week we have another brilliant light welterweight clash at the O2. Regis Progress against Josh Taylor for the unified light welterweight championships of the world, the Ring Magazine title on the belt there. For me, the winner of this fight is a natural fight for the winner of that fight next week. I think the opportunities for the winner of this fight are huge. Both huge ticket sellers, big crowd coming from Liverpool. Obviously, Lewis again, phenomenal support from the city of Newcastle. I believe that the winner of this fight will go on and challenge for a world title next, and I think it's such a huge opportunity for them. There is no champion in challenger in this fight, but as it is Davies Ritson, I'm going to flip it round this time, and I'm going to start with Robbie Davies up here. 1 British titles, 1 European titles. He is going to have his own support on Saturday night. There's probably not that many of them in here today, but of course we'll give him the respect because he's come, if you like, into the Lion's Den. The former British, undefeated British and former undefeated as a European champion, Robbie Davies Jr. Robbie, I guess these are the nights you want as a fighter. You know, huge opportunities, huge atmospheres, huge audiences around the world. Just a couple of days away from your chance to shine on Saturday.
These are the nights as a boxer that you dream of all your life, to be main event on Sky Sports in such a big arena, packed out crowd. I can't be anything more than excited. I know it's going to be hostile. I don't want to say too much in case there's a few here that start jumping down my throat. But it's definitely going to be a night to remember, and I honestly can't wait. I've prepared myself physically best I possibly could, and also like mentally is something what has always let doubters creep in on me. This is something what I've worked on a lot this camp, and I feel mentally and physically stronger than I ever have done going into this fight.
I've seen your social media, and I've seen that sort of mental edge from you in this camp. You seem to have been really focused on, you know, obviously your training, but your messaging, almost like Zen-like focus into this performance. We know that you're meticulous in your preparation in terms of your boxing and your nutrition, but have you been working particularly mentally on the focus in this fight? And it's something you're going to have to be on Saturday, is very mentally strong.
It's more because I'm coming up to the Lion's Den. It's going to be hostile, and I know my mental situation has got to be a lot stronger for a fight like this. I've got to stick to the game plan. I can't let the crowd, whether it be for Lewis or whether it be for me, get inside my head and make me come off my game plan. So it's been something me and my team have focused on. Brought new people into the team to help me focus on things like that, and I just believe I'm visualising the win already, and it's put me in a good frame of mind before I've even stepped into the ring. And everyone knows my nutrition and my physical, everything to do with me boxing's always 100% anyway, so that's no different from any other fight. But I just think this mental edge what I've got now is going to be enough to see the win on Saturday night.
We know that you're a boxing fan and a boxing man, and very intelligent about the game. When people are debating this fight, they're talking about the power of Lewis Ritson, the boxing skills of Robbie Davies, and how they're going to gel. But you believe as well, I know, and your team believe you have the power as well to hurt Lewis Ritson on Saturday night.
Yeah, because of some of my last performance at a higher level, things haven't went the way we've planned, and people are forgetting that I can punch as well. So people are more or less saying it's either Lewis the puncher or me the boxer. But I think it's discrediting myself for the power what I do have. Like when I was starting out, when I was going through all the local people who everyone fights, I was knocking them all out in one round, and then as I moved up in level, I started taking a few more rounds to knock them out. It was only in my last 2 fights, when with Matchroom, that I've been more back foot boxing, and everyone's all of a sudden thought, oh, we can't punch anymore, he's just a back foot boxer. So I think it's discrediting myself to say that I can't punch. I know that that if I land on anyone and if I land clean, I can knock them out. But we're going to be following a game plan on Saturday night, and I think it'll be enough to get the win. text you on Sunday, you know.
Okay. The reason we're here, we have to say, I mean, the reason we came back to Newcastle after years and years is because of Lewis Ritson, and the reason that we're here bringing this event to Newcastle is because of Lewis Ritson. I think he's a credit to the city in that you'll see him bobbing around anywhere up and down the high street. He's kept his team very, very tight, obviously with Neil Fannon and Phil Jeffries as well. Done a brilliant job, and Davies as well. I think it's a credit how he's kept that local team, that tight-knit team, and this is a massive opportunity for him on Saturday night. Probably one of the biggest ticket sellers and most popular British fighters I've seen in a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Lewis Ritson. Lewis, again, you've been here before. I remember the first time I went to the arena, I think it was all new for you, a little bit sort of, not starstruck, but you know, in awe of the arena. This seems like another day in the office for you, but without doubt the most important fight of your career.
Yeah, definitely the most important. I think, you know, Robbie hit the nail on the head mentally for me as well. We're head focused on this, and I think it's going to come down to that. I think me and Robbie, we're both going to be fit, we're both going to be strong, and I think it's going to come down to who mentally wants it the most, and I think that'll be me.
The support in the city is incredible. I remember, obviously, with the Highland victory, and then when we made the Patera fight, I think everybody just felt unbeatable, really, and the atmosphere that night was incredible. You lost. I remember sitting in the change room with you after, and Phil and your dad for quite a long time, and everyone was like shell-shocked. You know, it was almost like the Newcastle dream is over. And it's unbelievable, and a credit to the city, how we come back here off the back of a couple of wins, and now you sell this place out. They're behind you more than ever, and they're with you for a massive night on Saturday. The support has been incredible, and the atmosphere will be as well.
No, and I think that's a credit to the North, not just Geordie's, but we've had Geordie's, Macklin's, people from Hartlepool, they've all come together and they've all supported us. I think, you know, just under 2,000 tickets, could have done a lot more. And I can't wait for Sunday. We're buzzing, and hopefully I can repay the North East back with a good victory.
Same question for you that I asked Robbie, but I'm going to flip it. You know, people talk about your power and his boxing ability. I know you feel like that you've got the boxing ability as well to mix it with Robbie Davies. Do you feel that you're going to have to do that and show that on Saturday, and you feel like you've got the boxing IQ to match him as well?
Yeah, I'm not stupid. You know, you look at Robbie's record. He's got one more knockout than me. He can obviously punch, and we'll be stupid to let the crowd get to a head. A bit like Patera, and run out there and try and get him out there and walk onto one. So he's got a game plan. We've got a game plan, and the talking's over really now. It's just for me and Robbie to do our job on Saturday and put on a good fight for everyone watching, and the best man will win.
Thank you to Lewis Ritson and Robbie Davies Jr. It is a brilliant, brilliant fight. As is Fitzgerald against Cheeseman, as is Aseki against Summers, as is Savannah Marshall, as is Martin Bacoli, all these young fighters down here, Joe Laws as well. I want to put a particular thank you to the North East, like Lewis said, not just Newcastle, but the North East, because to sell this place out is very, very special. Like I said, about 20 or 30 tickets left now. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely incredible on Saturday night. Make some noise, enjoy yourself, behave yourself. Come down for the weigh-in on Friday, tomorrow at the Metro Centre at 1 p.m. And we look forward to an amazing show. We're going to have the fighters up here who are paired up to do head-to-heads now. And again, we thank you all for your support and coming here today. Thank you very much. John Doherty. Sorry, I was more worried about you, Joe, trying to get the timing right with your big speech. John Doherty, of course, we know from Newcastle, is one of the most dangerous super middleweights out there right now. Fantastic KO streak. John, the pressure's really on you now. You're going to have to come out with a great speech now, don't you? Looking forward to Saturday. Stepping up in class now. We know that you've been marauding forward and knocking everybody out, and you'll be trying to do the same on Saturday night, but now it's getting a bit more serious with a step up in class.
Yeah, definitely. I've been waiting for a step up opponent, and I'm just going to have to show my skills it's a step up in rounds as well. It's a 6 rounder, and I'll be looking for a knockout as I always do, and I can't wait for Saturday night. As you said, it's a sellout arena. I'm looking forward to putting on a show.
What's the difference been between you as an amateur? You weren't. I mean, I know people talk about punching power as amateurs. It's different in the pros, but you weren't renowned as a big puncher in the amateurs, and now already, having only had a handful of fights, already renowned as one of the biggest punchers in the division. What's the difference been?
I don't know really. It just obviously I've been working on my strength and conditioning with Perform, and Tony just the runs and I've been putting everything together. What we've been doing in the gym with the weights, with Tony, and it's been working. Obviously, we're knocking everyone out with smaller gloves to the amateurs, and I'm a different fighter to run the amateurs to the pros now.
Good stuff. Do not miss John Doherty on Saturday night. I'm sorry for missing you there, but I will make it up to you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause. John Doherty.
Are we good to go, yeah? We're ready to go when he gets in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's nice to see you. All right, cheers. Serious. Robbie. No, you're good. I'll hold the mic. I'll just stand here like a dog. Enjoy that.
When's it ending?
You ready? You ready?
No, I think we should wrap that still.
Well, they need to. But why? This is what we need to do now. Scorsese 2. Tarantino.
Just the, we want